Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mods video. Today is just a collection of new must-have mods, and I will admit that these won't be game-changing, well, at least not all of them. But if you're looking for just a little more to top off your mod list, then these I would say are perfect. So without further ado, don't forget to hit that like button down below if you end up enjoying the video or finding a mod that you didn't know about. And also don't forget to endorse mod authors for making mods free. And let's dive right in. The first mod up today, a mod I didn't think I would ever see, but this mod is called Reinforced Civil War Camps, and as you can tell by the name, it takes the Civil War camps that you find around Skyrim that spawn dynamically, or the ones that are already in your game, and overhauls them to seem actually fortified rather than just allowing anyone and their grandma to just walk straight in and kill everyone. As you can see, it adds new wooden barricades, as well as new tanning racks or just weapon racks so people can hang their things, and also tons of new armor placed around that would definitely armor every single person in there, including the injured people, because generally they don't have their armor, so it makes sense that they would have it somewhere inside the camp just in case they heal and want to fight again. Based on the mod page, this doesn't cover every single Civil War camp. It covers 16 of the 19. I'm not entirely sure why the other 3 weren't actually changed, but I'm pretty sure they probably told someone in the comments because I'm not the only one that asked about it. And weirdly enough, I do use northern roads, but for some reason it didn't mess up the northern roads. Everything worked perfectly fine. So I definitely recommend downloading this mod. First up we have Urges Open Bar, which I will admit is a pretty small mod, but it overhauls the mead around Skyrim, and because it overhauls the mead, it has instantly became one of my fan favorites. Is it considered a fan favorite if it's my favorite? Nonetheless, this overhauls every single type of mead inside of Skyrim and gives every single one its own unique look. They won't all just have this same singular overhaul in terms of mesh and texture. Every single mead variant, including the name ones, will have their own unique appearance that will immediately let you know which one you currently are picking up. They all have their own patches for animated eating and drinking if you happen to use that mod, so you won't miss out on these wonderful textures. And the best part about this video is the fact that these textures come in up to 4K and down to I believe 2K, but you can downscale it to 1K if you know what you're doing. But I would say the second best part is the fact that you can't mess up this mod. There is no this mod does not work. It is only texture and meshes. It doesn't really use base object swap or anything. It just replaces the textures as needed. So you should be able to plug and play it even on a current playthrough. But if you're going to use the mead overhaul, you may as well use the wine collection as well, because in my opinion, it is also the best wine replacer. And just like the other mod, this has no ESP. So there is no it doesn't work unless you have another mod that uses base object swapper. Then you won't really see this mod in action, but for the most part, it does just like the mead. It overhauls every different variant of wine, including the unique ones. But the main reason why I said that the mead version was my favorite is because I don't think there was ever a mead replacer besides the medieval spirits version, but with this one you get a modern but still medieval version of Skyrim's wines and meads, but it still stays pretty vanilla friendly. In my opinion, even with these just being textures and meshes, these two are definitely must-haves, at least for me it is, so I recommend it for you. But up next we have another mod called Diverse Chicken Coops. Now this one, as you can tell, does in fact use base object swapper to place these new architecture around your Skyrim. And I used to think when I first installed this mod, I thought it was going to replace the regular chicken hen place that they sleep in and lay their eggs at. But no, this one adds an additional. And it kind of makes sense because most cities have more than just 2 chickens, so just having 2 hays is never really made sense. But with this mod, adding additional places for the chickens to lay their eggs makes a lot more sense, and it covers them from the cold. Unless the place is a little poor like you see in Windhelm. Some of them have sticks for the walls, but some of them have mansions. And it really sets in a diversity of chickens in Skyrim. And while this mod does require high quality IV, it's not required all the way because there is an optional to remove it. But up next we have a female only armor called the Viper Armor. And based on the title and description, if you didn't read it, this is a assassin vibe female only armor that comes with the optional replacer for the Dark Brother armor that we'll get into a little later because it looks a little different from the one that you're currently seeing. And you may be seeing the dagger on the back, but that is not a real weapon you cannot use. That is purely cosmetic. But what you can use is the other color variants introduced with this armor. All cosmetic though, there's no ebony armor just because it's black. It's still the same stats as the previous armor. And if you happen to be wondering, yes, this armor works with pretty much every major popular body, including 3BA, CBBE, Vanilla, and UNP, or even UBE if you happen to be fancy and use that one. Unlike most modern armors, this one doesn't really require ACT because there's nothing really that would use it, honestly. But to obtain this armor, all you have to do is craft it at the Skyforge. No special requirements or things needed unless you have something locked in the Skyforge. But as you can see, the one for the Dark Brotherhood Assassin has a red and black theme. But I generally have a lot of mods replacing my Dark Brotherhood, so I had to summon an NPC for it. This next one though is probably the biggest mod of this video, even though it's in a small download size. But this mod is called Ivy's Riverwood Overhaul. And this mod definitely takes the word overhaul to a new level. It doesn't just overhaul the architecture that you're currently seeing and give it a Cities of the North look to match, just in case you happen to be using Cities of the North already, or some other mod that makes them look like this. It also adds tons of new buildings to the area, and overhauls the vanilla ones that adds new exterior items, NPCs, and things to interact with, like a smelter just in case you needed one in your Riverwood. And you may be noticing that it does contain a few parts that you are familiar with, and that's because it takes and combines every single standalone mod that Ivy released over about a year, maybe two, and just combines them into one big mod and takes a bunch of patches with it, pretty much meaning that you don't have to wait to install this mod for a bunch of patches to come out. The only thing that I know is incompatible because of this video is Riverwood Overgrown, but you don't need to use that. You can just use this mod considering it already adds Ivy to it. And if you have another mod overhauling this place like Northern Roads, when you install it, it comes with a bunch of different patches so you can mix and pick. The patches are auto selected, so you don't really need to do anything of your own unless you know how to break something and then fix it yourself. And I will admit, there are a lot of mods that touch Riverwood considering it's the first city that you run into, but this is definitely one of the better ones, especially considering all the patches that come with it. So you can install it and just play. Just make sure you have everything enabled. Considering that was the last one, but we're gonna move on to the next mod pack. And this magic mod I would definitely say is game changing. Up next we have the mod Lost Grimoire SSE, and I assume it says SSE because they released the legendary edition version also. But this magic pack adds dozens of new spells, over 100 of them, 115 to be exact to the true number, but dozens in every school category from conjuring to destruction to new spell types that I've never seen before. This magic mod offers spells from every roleplay character aspect that you can think of and that you can probably run without dying. It definitely takes a few hits to kill enemies with these spells, which is a great thing because that means I had 15 destruction. It means that these aren't overpowered. And these spells will blend into your Skyrim because they come in scroll form and staff form, or staves if you prefer to call it. And they have also been added to the level list of vendors if you prefer to go that route, which is in the base mod, so I guess you really don't get a choice, but you can have a choice of if you want these distributed to NPCs as well. As you level up, they might start to throw things that you've never seen before if you have the correct mods installed. Otherwise, they'll probably still just throw flames at you. But there's also patches for things like mysticism, ordinator, and creation club staves. There's a few other patches, but I assume that those 2 or 3 will be the main ones that everyone uses. Especially considering this mod lets you turn into a horse. It lets you turn into other animals as well, but because I have skeletons changing those mods, it doesn't really work with this mod. You just become invisible, but because I don't have a mod touching horses, I can turn into those with this. These spells generally gravitate towards master level spells, so you won't really see these around lower level inside of the vendors, but you'll see them towards the higher level. And because they don't really take much magicka to cast, that's because they're master level. It's just the point of that you want to have a lot of destruction or conjuration or illusion, whichever school you prefer to go for, to at least get the most out of the spells added by this mod. But definitely my favorite have to do with the teleportation. Like switcheroo, letting you move places with objects or people that are allowed to be moved, they'll just walk back to the same place. But teleport is definitely better because instead of just teleporting there and your character lagging out and then reappearing, you can actually see your character disappear and then reappear in the location that you clicked on. Of course, it doesn't let you teleport wherever you want to go. There is a limit to the destination or the distance. Otherwise, you'll probably get stuck in the place that you teleported to. All in all, without my rambling, I think that another YouTuber definitely showcased this mod a lot better. Okay, I think that was the last major mod, so on to the more simple ones that definitely is an instant download. Up next we have El Sopa's Misc Ruin Redone, and by Misc it doesn't mean that it overhauls every single aspect of the ruins, but pretty much overhauls every single clutter or furniture item that is inside of this, or not even all of them, most of them, to the point where this showcase would have been about 3 to 4 minutes if I showcased everything. But I decided to spare you guys the trouble. And you might be thinking that there's a ton of other retextures, so why would you use this one? And I would say because this one is a remesh, and because it's by El Sopa, so you know that he's going to release everything as great as it should be. These retextures will still use your Nordic Ruin retextures, but it will overhaul pretty much all the metal and also the urns that spawn inside of Nordic Ruins. And even though these are remeshes, it still is compatible with mods such as Lux and Embers XD because I am using both of them here, so you don't have to worry about that part. But you do have to worry about making sure that you don't install the 4K version of this because most Nordic Ruins have a lot of textures inside of it and a lot of destroyed monuments. And this mod overall is most of those, so unless you want to destroy your FPS, I highly recommend just getting the 2K version that I'm using in this video because as you can tell, there's no visual degrade. And honestly, if I am adding my own opinion again, these are definitely the best retextures that Nordic Ruins have gotten in a very long time. The other must-have small mod that I recommend is Half Face's Chest Remodel, or HFS if you prefer to call him that. It remodels the main two chests inside of Skyrim unless you use ones that adds a new one, such as Snazzy, then it won't work with that. But it does remodel the main two chests with 1K textures up to 4K, and I definitely recommend the 2K version as usual. But as you can see, it still tries to keep a Skyrim look. It doesn't completely overhaul the meshes and textures, but it just makes them look a lot better. And that was pretty much it for today, guys. Like I said, nothing majorly game changing, no super huge mod that you instantly need. But most of these, because I have 2,000 mods, is a must have for me. So if you ended up finding a mod that you like, or at least just like me showcasing mods, hit that like button down below. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.